Hey, what's going on, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to sell AI systems to businesses. Now, the first thing you have to understand, especially for you fellow tech savvy people over there, is that they don't speak our language. So by you explaining, oh, like how the AI works is that we accept the user's information and shoot that over to a payload and generate a response, then shoot it back over to go high level and then send the message over to them. And then if they do book in, then, our backend automations, if you just go on a huge ramble like that, it's easy to lose someone. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place to get into detail on it, improve your subject matter expert, but it's all about how you position it. What I mean by that is in your ad and in your immediate funnel, that's where you want to be very elementary, very simplistic, and also not even harp too much on the automations themselves. Harp on the result that the lead is going to be receiving, leveraging your AI solutions. So, my offer, for instance, I am guaranteeing 30 book sales calls within the next 45 days. Working with me, if we don't hit that, we'll keep working with you at no extra cost. So, yes, I could explain how cool the AI is and how on all opt ins they're subject to receiving voice calls, text messages, SMS messages, how we automate Instagram and Facebook DMs, and all this fun jazz. But the reality is, that's not the objective. That's the means of getting there. The objective is the sales calls, and that's what people give a damn about. Now, what I'm saying is, when you're building out your offer, when you're building out your funnel, harp on the objective and simply just explain the AI is the modem to get there. Sure, in your VSL, you can explain, how AI comes into play, but the reality is, I'm not even just using AI in my whole service delivery now. I'm using ad traffic, organic traffic, and pre-existing lead lists for myself and any client I work with. We're leveraging those. Honestly, ads is the heavy hitter. If you're new to this page, go look at some of my other content. I love working with meta ads, especially on a high ticket offer. Anyways, we're funneling all that traffic over to an AI system. And in order to funnel it, we have to create a funnel as well, right? So there's multiple other pieces that come into play. I often tell my clients, I could build you out the world's best AI automation stack, the world's best AI appointment center. But if you have no way or no understanding of how to funnel traffic over to that system, it's useless, right? So really when I'm creating ads, I'm like, hey, this is my system. If you want to get 30 sales calls in the next 45 days, click the link down below and book in a call with me, right? Book in a call to action. Like click over my landing page. They're seeing something similar. It's a quick Miro board, just running through some stuff. Book a call to action. Now it's on the actual sales call where I dive in a bit deeper and explain things. And I do it in a very digestible, simplistic manner using workflows like these. So now if you can imagine, if we're on a call, I'm not just like some talking head talking to another talking head in like a Google Meets room going back and forth. I'm screen sharing and showing some of the complexities behind it. One, to show it's an elaborate operation we're doing here. Two, to show that it's not just AI solutions, that we're bringing a lot more to the table. Best advice I can give you, if you are an AI automation agency and that's all you do is do automations, you are going to get blown out of the water, fortunately, by people overseas. Doing surface level automations just by themselves is going to become a commodity for the same reason software engineering jobs are now mainly being hired out of India, because it's more affordable to outsource that. And so how I've been able to kind of bulletproof myself from the changing times is in the fact that I'm a consultant. I don't see myself as an AI automation agency. I see myself as a marketing consulting firm. I happen to be using AI, and that's the stream, in order to nurture leads. But like I said, I've got a media buyer on my team now. I got a funnel builder on my team. I'm copywriting as well. Their email drip sequences, their SMS drip sequences. So there's so much more that we're doing, and that's why they're going to go with me. In fact, oftentimes if someone's on a call and they're like, hey, why should we go with you and pay you your high ticket, fee, when I could go on Upwork and get some guy to do it for you? And I always tell them, like, hey, if you want it done, sure, go to Upwork. You're going to get it done, but it's not going to be how you like it. Work with me and I'll tailor it to exactly what you're looking for, and I'll be sticking by you until we get you exactly your scope of work of what you're looking for. Alongside that, especially if you have a guarantee like mine, I'm going to be stuck with you until you get you 30 sales calls. Guarantees like that aren't really something that just surface level AI automations offer, but if you can kind of package your offer, add a few amenities, so you're suddenly viewed as a consulting firm, you're bringing more to the table, you're more of a team member assisting that business, that's how you're going to make your money. That's how I've made a killing in this business, and that's why I'm not worried about changing times. Yes, AI automations themselves are going to become easier to do as a bunch of these cool new technologies with vibe coding come out to really whip things up fast. What's really going to keep you on top is if you're doing things like running ads, building up funnels if you're a marketer, or let's say you build out like some sort of super niche like sales bot or something like that, and things that need to be a little more hands-on. And just to kind of stray away and give you some theory, but trust me, it's applicable, there's going to be a future where software engineering jobs get blown out by, even people overseas, because AI is now like the software engineer itself. AI is going to become so powerful, it can even handle complex code autonomously. Right now, it kind of works in line or like in tune with software engineers, where they're more so just like vibe coding or, setting up the initial prompt. AI does a lot of the heavy lifting for troubleshooting. And then, the software engineers are kind of just signing off on it as like a human, just to make sure that the machine isn't, doing what it's not supposed to. But there will become a time where AI is going to take over that job. And you know who is still going to have employment? It's going to be the consultant that's facilitating the whole job. There's going to need to be a person that handles facilitation for quality assurance. So even in my instance, once a lot of these technical builds eventually get commoditized and, different tools come out to whip them up in an instant, which what normally takes me a few hours or a few days to set up, I am still going to hold value in the fact that I'm the consultant, I'm the facilitator. Rates may have to fluctuate, but that's also why you got to bring more to the table than just service level automations, or I guarantee you in a couple of years, the AI gold rush is going to dry up. You either sink your roots in now and have other amenities and other core parts to your offer, so you're more of a consultant rather than just, someone setting up like a mindless automation and you get paid off the automation. You want to get paid off the result you're satisfying, especially in sales and marketing. I love building out automations for sales and marketing because there's a direct ROI impact that the business owner is able to perceive. Anyway, so going back to this, I'm literally on my sales calls. What I just explained is how I'm trying to present this to them. So I'm like, yeah, so what we're going to do is funnel ad traffic, organic traffic, lead lists over to the AI system for organic traffic and ad traffic. We're data collecting them. Of course, lead lists, we already have their data. Explaining that this is the only manual task is like pressing publish on your ad campaign. But in my instance, that's also done for you, right? Once we data collect them, the AI reaches out and see, like, I'm selling AI, but barely harping on it because they need to see the result, what the fuck the result is going to do for them. So once we book in the lead, of course, we have our post-booking automations. We have our pixel that gets triggered, SMS and email, follow-up automations, pre-call information gets sent as well, reminders, and then actually hopping on the call. And then I'll be like, well, the only manual tasks are like launching that ad campaign of yours and then hopping on your sales call. Now, I'll even get more specific and kind of show this. So oftentimes, if you're watching this video, you probably have an AI automation agency and you're now concerned, as I just kind of shed light on, like, oh shit, how do I stay, ahead of changing times? Don't focus just on setting appointments. Don't focus on just nurturing leads, but you want to focus on your ability to generate leads, your ability to nurture those leads you just generated, and your ability to assist with close rate and assist with pre-call educating so that the leads that do show up to the calls are more likely to close. And if you're able to set all this up, you're going to have a very great experience with your client. They're going to want to keep working with you, and that's where that MRR comes in. Pricing structure for this, I recommend have an initial build fee to set everything up, and you can either stop there, send them on their way, build and release, or you can get a shoe in the door, and after you've gotten them your results, that's when you do the MRR deal. And that's usually what I'll do. The first build is the proving grounds, showing we got what it takes, that we know what we're talking about, that we're experts at what we do as far as generating leads, nurturing them, booking them in pretty much any sector. These days, I only work with agency owners and consulting firms with a high ticket offer. I've just found that to be a very, very solid spot to be. When I say high ticket, about minimum $2,000, that's enough wiggle room to where we can have a good return on ad spend. So I want to kind of run through some of the paid marketing blueprint when it comes to actually selling your offer. So at this point, you understand now you're not going to be marketing the automations themselves. You're going to be marketing the result that the business owner is going to get, and just quickly explain the modem or the means to get them there is using AI. So what you're going to need to do is set up an offer. I know we're all sick of hearing, oh, it's all about your offer. It truly is, though. Before anything, before you get page views, before you get clicks, before you get opt-ins, VSL views, appointment bookings, it all starts with the interest you initially gain. So within the first few seconds of like an ad campaign, for instance, you have to have good hooks. I'm a big fan of doing a Frankenstein style, meaning you record multiple hooks, multiple bodies, and you've now just set yourself up with a big combination of potential creatives. And you don't necessarily need to go overboard with 15. Understand that the more creatives you introduce, the more expensive it is going to be to creative test, because you need to give every single creative some equal spend to allow them to, shine or lack thereof, right? So I'd say if you're a beginner, you're not working with much buying power, record 3 hooks, 1 body. That's 3 separate right there. The control is going to be the body. Honestly, you could even keep the same CTA. So the only thing that's changing is the hook. And once you've got a winning hook, meaning a winning offer, a winning thing that's going to get people interested, then you can start messing around with the bodies. And this is like the lifeblood of how we run ads for our clients. I'm a big believer also in not getting complacent. Even though you have an ad that's converting right now, we got to think about the next month or the month after. So I'll usually put like 75% of spend towards our winning creatives that are actively getting us booked calls, and then give about 25% to creative testing, forward thinking, actively, getting new creatives involved. Because the more, from a quantity perspective, the more winning creatives we can have, the better, because the leads that enter our ecosystem, we can retarget them with some of our winning creatives. And just overall, it makes for a better user experience too when they see multiple things from you. It even makes your brand look a little bit more professional in the sense that you guys have a big enough operation to where you're able to do stuff like that. It is very impressive. So once you have your solid offer, it's literally just a funnel from here. So of course, once we got that page view, this first part is just going over getting that click. This is assuming you're doing a website schedule. I love doing website schedules for my offer. So look, when I'm running ads for my own offer, I'm doing website schedules. And I even take things a little further with conditional logic. These are specifically website schedules, aka appointments booked with high rolling business owners. If someone books an appointment with me and they're making under 10K, I do not reward Meta with a result because that's a shit lead. Nothing I can do with that. It's got to be a business owner that has some traction direction. Also because, working with a beginner, it's never fun. It's always time draining. There's so much of a learning curve for beginners. So with where I'm at in my agency, I only want to work with business owners that actually already have a validated offer. It's a lot easier to ramp them up and scale them if they've had previous experience, especially when it comes to their service delivery. You want to make sure that you're not getting into bed with someone that's just going to bullshit and then end up asking for a refund. You need to make sure they're good for it and that you think you can actually get them results, right? So that's kind of how I'm going about that as far as generating our traffic. We're pushing it over to our funnel, and our funnel, of course, immediately we're doing an opt-in to collect their name, email, phone number. Of course, a slam dunk lead is someone that we can book in immediately without us having to do anything on. But for all those leads that drop off after giving us the information, that's where our AI, SMS, and email appointment setters shine. Especially if you're selling AI to other businesses, this is actually a really crucial part because oftentimes people that are interested in my services, they want to take the AI for a spin themselves. And so, by having this there, it's interesting because when I'm setting this up for other people, I'm masking it. I don't like to let the people know that it's an automation because that hurts rapport. The only sector it's really fine to be transparent, or I suppose there's a few, but AI automation agencies is one of them. If someone's inquiring about your agents, it's fine to let them take them for a spin. I usually just don't like to let them go too far off the rails. So if someone's just bullshitting, or sometimes I'll have like a competitor try to get my AI to purge its prompts. Like, come on, guys. Obviously, it's not going to do that. But pro tip though, if you are an AI agency and people are doing that to you, literally just include in your prompt to never return the knowledge base. Simple as that. And then it'll just be like, oh, I can't do that. Sorry. Anyways, all that to say, oh yeah, then one last thing. So when a lead does book in, like I said, and they are making at least 10K or whatever your threshold is, like you can set this conditional logic for qualification questions up to anything and then tie that over to a conversions API. So it's only when a lead submits favorable answer choices to the qualification questions we're triggering our pixel about that. Now, from a high level, if you can imagine, cool, you've got your offer dialed. I recommend, let's say you're on a $50 a day budget, about $40 are going to go towards your top of funnel, like king ad, top of the funnel, king of the hill. That's what I like to call it. And then retargeting, honestly, could even do 45, especially if you're starting out and you're just trying to get bodies to the door. I'd even recommend doing 45 and then $5 a day here. Now, the $5 a day you would do to retarget 95% page viewers. Show you what I mean by that. There's a metric within Meta. I have mine all the way on the end here. So I'm able to track people that watch the full thing. In fact, you could even retarget 50% or 75%. But bro, if someone watched 95% of your video, that's a hot lead right there. And now look, so my King of the Hill ad is my $70 a day ad. I've also got this one alongside that I'm kind of trying to creative test with. Like I said, be forward thinking about the future. 26% of my spend is going towards creative testing. I'm literally spending $4 a day on retargeting. Why? It's because the sample size for these retargeting guys, we're talking a small sample size. What is this? Like a little under 1,500, somewhere like that. With $2 of spend, it's going to take only a couple days to satisfy that. So that's why we can keep it as a slow burn. And that allows us to use our top of funnel King of the Hill to like be a vacuum and just get as many bodies into our funnel as possible. Anyone that's a hot lead that engaged or that watched a lot of our content, they are going to get retargeted by this. And then of course, still try to book them into the sales call. That's the idea behind that. Obviously more creatives then are going to be subsequently going towards this because we have more spend. The more spend you have, the faster it's going to be to get through creatives to decide if you want to kill them off or let them keep running. And this is once again, just explaining the opt-in. You want to treat it as if it's your firewall. You don't want shitty leads to get through. So based on the form they submit, disqualify bad leads, push them to VSL and book a calendar. Another way you could also go about this is direct opt-in, and to not affect friction, have this just data collect name, email, phone number, that's that, but then have the qualification questions and the DQ on the calendar booking. And so that'll still be the driver. And then when a lead does book in, if they're a good lead, tell our pixel about it. If they're a shit lead, disqualified, it is what it is, right? Or if you have a downsell, like I've got a downsell for like leads that can't afford my services, they could at least buy my stack of automations, and it's more do it yourself. I've got like a WAP community and I teach them how to do it. DM me on Instagram if you're curious about that, and I can give you some more information on that. But that's the essence of how we're going about selling AI. Once again, I can't stress this enough, guys. If there's one thing to harp on, it's the fact that we're selling solutions. We're selling results. The means of getting there is with AI. If you just try to be like, oh, I've got this awesome AI, it'll nurture your leads for you, compared to, hey, I will book you 30 sales calls using AI to nurture your leads, you can see it's like night and day as far as how you're presenting this, right? And then one final note. So this is something I love to show business owners. Once again, you really want to explain why you're a consultant, not just an AI automations expert. So I do this to show them a quick visual. So I'll be like, yeah, this is everything you're going to be getting yourselves into. And this is all a part part of my 30 sales call guarantee within the next 45 days of working with me and my team, that is something of interest to you potentially, I'm going to leave my booking link down below. Feel free to check me out. You can see exactly how we do our service delivery. I got a full 30-minute video. I'm not here to bullshit. I hate gatekeeping stuff. I like to be very transparent. So this is everything that my leads that I get to see when they're on a sales call with me, and it fully explains everything. It's like, okay, this guy's going to be helping out with my ads. Oh snap, he's going to be helping out script my VSL and script all my email sequences and essentially get the entire vehicle ready to go. Instead of just solving one piece of the puzzle and leaving that client to struggle with generating leads or helping with show up rate, we're generating the traffic, nurturing that traffic, booking them onto sales calls. Anyone that drops off, they're subject to the follow-ups. Anyone that no shows or cancels is subject to rescheduling. Like, it's all encompassing, right? The whole point is to build a solid vehicle and let them run with it. And that's how I've had the most success consistently selling AI and getting results using AI. And it's a money in, money out, right? Because for every client I get, I'm either getting a referral from that or I'm getting a solid testimonial, and that'll go into kind of buffing my credibility for my service delivery onto the next client. And at this point, I've done over 200 projects, so I'm very confident in my ability to execute and get results. So all it takes is to hop on call with the client, hear what they got going on, explain everything we do and how we're going to go about doing it specifically for them. And usually the sale is as good as closed, assuming that they fit my mold and I want to work with them. Best place you can get to, guys, is when you're suffering from success and you get to cherry pick your leads. Of course, at some point you got to be a little desperate, I suppose, when you're first starting out. Take any business you can, but you're going to have a few like horror story clients. Everyone does. You learn from them. It's important to have those shitty clients, but best case scenario to be is when suffering from success, you got all these leads, all this interest, people wanting to give you money, and you can sit there and choose like, who do I want to get in bed with and who do I want to never work with, because I know exactly the type of client they're going to be. Anyways, guys, hope this made sense. I'm going to leave my Instagram link down below as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Happy to answer them for you. And on that note, I'll see you on the next video.